Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another dope episode of Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together. My name is Ursula B, and I'm just a Black girl just trying to get my shift together. So, today is going to be great as usual. Today, we're going to talk about being strong and stressed. Especially for sisters, for Black women, we carry a lot on our backs, and we just power through it. But we're gonna have some insight, some tools, some practical tips on how we can unload some of that burden. Because some of it we really don't have to, but we're just gonna bring awareness. Also, if you did not know, this is May, and May is Mental Health Awareness Month, but there's also something called Mental Health Action Month. So, we talk a lot about mental health and the awareness of it, but what are some actionable steps are we going to take towards our own mental health? We pour into others a lot, but what do we do and take action to pour into ourselves? We're going to get right into that, but first,
This for the queens, sisters manifesting their dreams. Get your cream by any means and beam with self-esteem. Beauty supreme and Buddha walk so mean. The way you fit in them jeans, you eat your cornbread and greens. Dance or a doctor, red wine or vodka. Redesign your spot and redefine your mantra. Retwist your locks and realign your chakras. Doing your squats and getting closer to God, huh? Brunching with your squad or taking a girl's trip. Adjust your crown, you God's gift to the world, sis. Celestial body, drink your water. Meditate, sun kiss God is heavenly order. Levitate, tribe of Ashanti, black girl magic. Melanin popping, whether you ratchet or lavish, whether you bougie or savage, you a gift and a treasure. You got to love a black girl getting a shift together. Black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, man. These black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, dog.
all right, we are back again. Today, we are talking about being strong and stressed. Does that sound relatable to you? Perhaps. I know it has with myself as well as my guests. So I'm going to bring my wonderful guest out of the waiting room.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. So excited to be here with you today to have this conversation.
I know. It's always good to reconnect. We reconnect offline, but it's always good to see your pretty face and we chat it up.
Yes, girl. I love it.
Okay. So we're gonna let you all know we had a little chatter before this episode, and we were talking about how we'll get into the depths of it, but just how we both experienced being strong and stressed and how triggering it has and can and could be, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, for those who have not met my wonderful guest, this is Petra Gordon. Petra and I, we've done a few episodes, and it was very eye opening. Oh, as a matter of fact, I was talking about you. I was playing pickleball last week, and I was talking about you sharing with one of my partners about what you do, and it just the conversation came up. So I said, "Oh, you need to listen to this person right here." So it's the gift that keeps giving, right?
I love it. I love it. That's awesome.
Do you want to tell people briefly who you are and what you do?
Sure. So I'm Petra Gordon. I am a grief therapist and a certified grief coach. I specialize in working with widows, transferring wisdom to widows of how to navigate the loss of a husband so that they can honor his legacy and live and love their lives again after the loss. And so I pride myself in really educating the community on grief education, becoming more aware how we can support one another as we're experiencing and navigating different grief and losses.
So if you all want to hear our past episodes, I'll make sure and put the link from past episodes in the description box. But today we're going to talk about being strong and stressed, especially as a woman, especially as a Black woman. I saw that look. You went like,
girl.
what's all about? That's just
Oh, I was just mentioning with you in the beginning that just going through and reflecting on my own lived experiences and thinking about other Black women that I'm in relationship with, and just things that we have seen in media and over the years in history, it became triggering to really reflect on how much we carry and how much weight it is, and the impact of that. The impact on that. And sometimes when we actually start to seek help, it's at the bottom of the pit, right? It's when we have been broken and beaten, where we have no other choice but to get help, because now our lifeline, like we're like the last end of our rope now, So, whew, girl, yeah, yeah. This topic it hits all kinds of levels. So I'm excited to share and talk about and give voice to it. Give voice to it.
yes, exactly. So, what do you consider the strong Black woman in your experience, or just what just your thoughts on it? I won't say an exact definition because it is so layered. But what
Yeah,
would you consider a strong Black woman while I fix my lighting?
sure. And so when I think about the strong black woman, I think about a woman that is independent. I think about and I envision a Black woman who carries multiple different roles. Maybe she is a parent, a spouse. Maybe she's working different types of jobs, maybe running different businesses. Um, and maybe she is a caregiver who, that multi-generation, she has young children, she has aging parents, and it's just one that gives and gives and gives so much of herself, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes in the giving doesn't have anything to refuel or give back and pour into herself, but she carries a strength in every space that she goes, and people often don't see the parts that are wounded and hurt and tired.
Right.
See her coming and showing up always on point, and it can be misinterpreted to seem as though that Black woman doesn't need any help. And oftentimes when we're strong Black women, we don't know the spaces that we can be softer, where we can let our guard down, where we can be vulnerable. And
Mm.
it's that pressure to feel like I gotta carry it all. I gotta have my own back. I gotta have my kids back. I have to have my spouse, my partner's back. I gotta take care of my family. But oftentimes it's like, but who has my back? And it's like, if I let that down, then everything's going to fall in place. And I think that's a deception. We believe the narrative that we got to carry it all, do it all to our own demise often. And sometimes when we're so knee deep in it, we're not always aware of that pressure until it snaps, until we get to the end of our rope or something gets added that we just can't carry because we're carrying so much already. We've exceeded our capacity, So
Yeah, I'm gonna ask a question that I'm gonna poke the hornet's nest a little bit.
go ahead and poke it.
Do you think sometimes we wear it as a badge of honor?
I do. I do.
You
I
do.
think sometimes it's like, I hear men talk about, their mothers, if they had a single mother. My mom was a strong Black woman, but what did that mean? What did that cost her? And
Mm,
sometimes we do wear it as like, I'm strong and I'm Black and I'm proud, but then we lose connection in being in touch with the softer side of us. And so culture and society and media tend to paint us in a way that it's almost like we're not even human, right?
oh,
We don't have that softer side. It's always either this angry, aggressive, masculine energy, very assertive, very loud, very boisterous. It's like that whole stereotypical view of a Black woman. And if you do seem to be a little softer or feminine, then it starts to have a language of, oh, she's more like white women, and maybe she doesn't know herself. And it's like,
mhm.
what does that mean? That if I'm a
Right.
little bit gentler, then that means I'm not a Black strong woman? And so I feel like there's so much distortion because of how we've been betrayed and because of how history, when we think and look back to what Black women had to go through in slavery,
Yes.
all of that ties in as well. And so sometimes it is a badge of honor, but to our own demise, because then you have to always wear it and you can never let it down. You're always in that role. And it's like, well, you're human. At what point do you get to lay it down, rest, be at ease,
Breathe. Exhale.
Yeah. Right.
I was going to ask you about the historical context of that strong Black woman, and you already nailed it right there. It can go back as far. I mean, we had to be, or we'd be unalived if we go back to our ancestors. We just had to.
Mm-hmm.
But that was then. Now we don't have to, but sometimes I feel like it's just so ingrained. I mean, I can speak on several instances. Like you and I were talking about how we were triggered looking at the notes of this. Yeah. I found myself, do I want to make this into a story time?
Girl, go ahead.
Well, I will say this. Even with that stereotype of being the strong, and even drop the word angry in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a long time ago. And I was at a toxic work environment, and it was bad. It was bad. And my attitude was not the best. I mean, because of everything that comes with being in a toxic work environment, starting from the top, trickled down.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember just hardly ever in a good mood. And so there was a commercial that came on TV, and it was I don't remember, but I do remember there was one character. It was like a commercial or something. I don't remember, but it was pretty much a strong, angry Black woman. And one of my coworkers said, "Oh, that's Ursula."
Wow.
And she was our counterpart.
Oh, wow.
The only person that got it was another sister.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was going through it as well.
Right.
Isn't that something? But this is the added lick to it. Because I wasn't self-aware of myself.
Right.
That I tempered how I really felt. And so even though all this professional abuse was going on, I was still, if something just jabbed me right here, my smile got bigger. I put another layer of a mask on just so I wouldn't be. It was a lot. So I'm battling it on both sides. You know, I had to be strong to go in that work environment, but then it was too strong. Now you're being labeled.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot to carry.
It is a lot. And who do you talk to about that? You know, how do you get into safe spaces where you can share with this and not be judged about it, not be criticized about it, not be told to toughen up, or you're being too sensitive, or you know, whatever the language is used when you're having to deal with that type of tension, you know, in your place of employment. Because not only are you dealing with the fact that you are a woman, and there's issues around and challenges being a woman in the workforce, then you add the other layer of being a Black woman. And so it's like almost hypersensitive. It's like I gotta, in certain spaces, I gotta change my posture. I gotta change how I speak. And, you know, it's like we go into a different role, right? It's like we're almost on guard, because if I allow myself to be fully who I am, your perception or your judgment or your biases will dictate how you treat me and how my experiences in the place of employment is going to be. That's a lot of pressure.
Yes, ma'am. It's a lot. It definitely was a lot. Yeah. Speaking of that, from your experience, personal and professional, what are your thoughts on how that can take a toll on someone's mental health?
Oh my gosh. It can have such a toll. It creates anxiety.
Mm,
There could be feelings of stress, burnout, issues with sleep, issues with your appetite, headaches.
mhm.
Um, these are things that over time, when left unaddressed, start to impact on our physical body where we have digestive issues.
Mhm.
A lot of us a lot of women are dealing with fibroids and endometriosis, so our bodies are starting to work against us. And we don't realize like our nervous systems is dysregulated.
Wow.
It's like all these different things start to happen, and we think, what's going on? Why am I, throwing up and having diarrhea? Why am I constipated? Well, let's start looking at our lives. Let's start looking at our environments that's causing stress.
Exactly. I remember just my hair falling out. This is how long ago it was. I had relaxed hair
Yeah.
and shaking my head no. Just saying no to someone. Someone asked me a question. I said, "Oh, no, no." And my hair was all on the counter. And not
Hmm.
just a few strands. It was enough that I had to sweep it up with my hand into the trash
Wow.
can. Yeah. So I would say we also have to pay attention to our bodies, but not just the physical. But I think sometimes we've been conditioned to be so disconnected from our emotions that we can't tap in when our emotion, our mental is letting us know, like, look, girl, you are stressed. You
Hmm.
are stressed. But you know who sees our real selves? It's when we're in that closet or in that
Right.
shower crying with
Right. Absolutely.
no one is
Abs-
around.
that part. Right. When we're crying and we're pouring out, and then we wash our face and we go back into the office and we go back into whatever environment as if nothing ever happened, but it hasn't been dealt with. So what doesn't get dealt with perpetuates. It continues until you get to a breaking point. And so my heart for us as Black women is not to allow it to get to a place where we're broken down, where we start to
Mhm.
do some of that preventative work, where we start to lift up these conversations, where we start to be our sister's keeper and check in on our strong friends to really see, how are you really doing? Because we're so
Right.
good to say, I'm fine, I'm good. Meanwhile, all hell's breaking loose. You're at home, you can't eat, you can't sleep, can't do none of that. And it feels almost like weakness if we're wanting to share, well, this is what I'm going through. Because
Yeah.
everyone's going through something. So you're just like, oh, all right, I'll just take it. So I'm taking on my stuff and I'm taking on your stuff. But then at what point do we allow ourselves to be in spaces where we can be vulnerable with other healthy emotional women that can support us as well? Why do we have to carry the load by ourselves?
I think that comes with wearing it. Some wear it as a badge of honor, and like you said, being almost superhuman. But the real superpower is being vulnerable and able to say, like, look, I'm not doing good right now. It's okay. And that's why it's so important to have community.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. It's needed, almost like having a built-in mastermind, right? With your sister girlfriends.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And just as you say, sister girlfriends, there is this tension as well with like sister wounds, where this competition, this I can't trust you, this, you know, instead of it being collective community, let's come together, let's support one another. It's more like this I against you, or this I'm sizing you up. And it's like, no, 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 no. We are in this together. We need to be supporting and encouraging one another, not tearing each other down.
Exactly. Let me ask you this, and then I'm going to fix my light again because I don't know why it keeps going off, but I can hear you when you're talking. What are
Good.
your thoughts when you hear women, listen carefully,
Mm-hmm.
when women say, Oh, I don't do women. I don't get along with women. That
Hmm.
see, and then say something happens. See, that's why I don't deal with women. What are your
Hmm.
thoughts on that?
And I hear that a lot from Black women.
Sweet.
I hear it a lot from Black women. I
What are
do.
your thoughts? I'll be right back. I'm listening though.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one, we have not learned how to really cultivate healthy relationships with other women, and I think that we have these wounds that have not been addressed, some hurts, maybe some disappointments in relationships, and because has never been addressed, it carries forward into other relationships. And so we put up a wall, and usually those walls are coming from old wounds that have not been addressed. And
Well, what
so
does that look like? Like it is an example of what those wounds could look like.
it could be maybe you experienced rejection in the past, maybe you experienced some type of abandonment, maybe you have not been understood or seen or heard. Some of this stuff comes from your childhood in terms of how you were brought up and how you experience your own family dynamic. And
Mm,
so you may have been hurt by someone in your early years in life that was a friend. And so
mhm,
what that's taught you is I got to be guarded, I got to protect myself, I got to look
mhm,
out for me, because if I don't, if I become vulnerable, that means I'm weak, and then someone's going to come along and hurt me and think that I'm soft, they can walk all over me. So I got to show them that I'm not. I'm going to be tough, I'm going to hold my face like flint, right? I'm gonna put my poker face on. You're not gonna see no hurt in me because I'm not trying to be hurt by you. And then it's like stones keep on building
mhm.
around our heart so that nothing can penetrate it because we're self-preservation. I'm trying to protect myself. But in doing that, we not only keep away people who can hurt us, but we keep away those that can actually love us because our
Mm.
heart is just so hard. So those wounds need to be addressed. And that really takes having those conversations and becoming more aware. I've been hurt. Where in my history have I been hurt and wounded that it resulted in me building up these walls in my heart?
And that can add on to the stress, don't you think?
Absolutely, because it's impacting on your ability to have relationships that are healthy, that will do well for you. And so it's stressful when you feel like you are alone in this world, where you always got to be strong for yourself and for others, where you can't let your guard down for someone to be there for you. That's stressful.
Indeed, indeed.
And don't let me talk about control. How
Girl,
that's another layer of stress because you want to control everything, which we don't have the power to do, but we want to be in control. And when we're not, that creates anxiety and stress as well.
could another layer of the stress from control be because it's coming from fear?
Absolutely. I would say fear is the root. Fear
Mm,
is the root. I believe fear is the root when it comes to control. It's like I need to make sure everything's in order. I need, everyone to do what they're supposed to do. I need my money to be this way. And when things go off, it's like agitation. I can't sleep. I can't eat because we're afraid of what we are thinking and are imagining in our mind that could happen. That hasn't
mhm.
happened yet, but we're imagining the worst case scenario, and that in itself causes anxiety and stress.
Yes. So that's when those intrusive thoughts just take over and
Yes,
hijack and said, okay, girl, we going for a ride right now.
100%.
We're going to go on this ride of everything that can happen, bad will, and almost like I'm going to get you before you get me.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Can you imagine living like that? Where that constant anxiety, that constant nervousness in the pit of your stomach, that you can't even allow yourself to enjoy things even when it's good because you're thinking, when's the next shoe gonna drop? When's the next
Ooh.
bad thing that's gonna happen? So you can't even allow yourself to rest in the things that are a blessing and that's good because you're already anticipating something to go wrong and go bad.
Mm,
That's stressful.
mm.
There's no peace in that.
No peace whatsoever.
None.
So in the chat, everyone listening, before we're gonna peel back a lot more layers. We're already popped the hood, looking under it. If you know a woman who is strong and stressed and or stressed, share this video. Definitely like this video. Make sure you please subscribe to this channel. We're building community in this movement with Black girls getting their shift together. You see two Black women right now. We're building community. We've been building community. This conversation we're having is just minute compared to what we've had offline. But we've both shown up vulnerable. And like, this is a cool sister right here. You know, I'm so glad we connected.
Me too.
Yeah. And so this is how another way of how it looks to be a strong Black woman. Because you can build community with, you can build community, but you're also sharing it with someone who's not imposing any guilt or shame. Because it's okay to have down days, low days, weak days. Petra, can I read some of the comments? Oh,
Sure.
wow. And for people listening, put a number 1 in the chat or put strong and stressed if you've been that person. And feel free to share any thought you may have. Okay, so Latasha, she said, yes, emotions are data from ourselves. Oh, I like that. From ourselves to ourselves.
Yes, that's good.
Isn't that something that we can easily ignore the data that comes from our own self, but we can be quick to figure out somebody else's emotions and go to the rescue of them instead of rescuing ourselves?
Because it takes more. It takes more to sit with yourself, to allow yourself to feel your feelings, to process it, to try to understand it. That takes work. That takes courage, because sometimes what comes up for you is hurtful. It's hard. It's not comfortable.
No.
So we go into, you know, sometimes the Messiah complex where it's like, I'm gonna fix you. I'm gonna rescue you. I'm gonna be there for you. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna do all the things for you. Meanwhile, I'm sinking. But because I found my identity and purpose in being able to help all people and do all the things, mother, daughter, sister, friend, employee, whatever the case might be, your identity is so wrapped into all those things, but you never get to really tune into you because you're so busy trying to be all things to all people. And even that is not humanly possible to do. And it does not sustain. It doesn't sustain.
How about this? While you were speaking, everything you just said, and how let's even talk about how we have had histories of pouring into relationships. I'm talking about romantic relationships, rescuing the relationship, even if it's toxic as hell, knowing we don't need to be in it.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna make him better, you know. I'm like, you know, he just needs some of that support. Like, I'm gonna just show. No, we can't fix people. That's an inside job. you gotta want to change, but we'll stay in situations that aren't good for us, that aren't healthy until it hits rock bottom. Ooh. And it costs you. Every time we go through stuff like that, it costs. It takes a layer of our heart, our virtue. We got to repair ourselves. And then the person that comes into our lives next, I mean, God bless them, because if we don't deal with that hurt, they're going to have the effects of what we just walked through. When we don't deal with it, when we leave it unaddressed and unattended. There's so many people walking around with trauma that's been unaddressed.
Yes, this is so true. And especially going back to what you said about how uncomfortable it is, those blind spots that we have, sometimes we just have to go through it. Yeah. But it's so much better on the other side. But I ain't gonna lie, becoming self-aware and uncovering those blind spots, look how you looking like.
It's not comfortable. It's downright uncomfortable, but you got to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
When you got to be honest with yourself, I am not doing okay. and I'm coming out here with my big smile and my big personality or whatever the energy might be, and everyone thinks I'm the life of the party, that I'm great, I am not okay. And people don't even know it because you've learned to play this role so well. You've learned to and be all the energy, be like, hey girl, what's up? Da, 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 da. Meanwhile, you come back in your car feeling weighted and defeated. And it's like, why can't I just be real? Why can't I just let them know that I'm not okay? And sometimes it's the fear that even if I do let them know, no one's going to care because people got their own stuff going on.
I'm speechless on that one. Yes. Yeah.
We have to have soft landings. We have to have other emotionally healthy Black women and women in our corner, in our lives, where we don't always have to feel that we have to carry our own weight by ourselves all the time. It is exhausting. I'm so exhausted of the strong Black woman. Be strong. Girl, you're so strong. No. Who wants to be strong all the time? It is tiring to carry that what do you call it? Like the Superman cape or Superwoman cape.
Yes.
Please. We are human. We need a soft landing too. We need someone to lean on as well.
And it's okay. Let me read a few more of the comments. So the Haven, and Latasha, thank you for your comment. The Haven said this is a much needed conversation. Absolutely is. And speaking of the cape, Latasha said, our strong Black woman cape is like a noose that is unaliving us. I can't say that word on YouTube, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's unaliving us. And often we cling to it with all, girl.
Come on.
With all of our life.
Absolutely.
That part.
Absolutely.
That part. Let's see. Okay, Haven, thank you for sharing. She says strong and stressed. And sometimes we think we have to do everything because we are taught. If you want something done right, do it yourself.
That part.
If anyone has said that,
come on,
put me in the chat. And matter of fact, can you type me for me in the chat?
Oh my gosh. You know, this hits me on so many levels because you know why? Because I've lived this. I've lived this personally where I have felt I can't rely on anyone. It has to be me. No one's going to do it as well as me. And then you put on all this extra pressure. But the truth is, no one's putting on that pressure. We have created that pressure for ourselves. And then people that are on the outside, say maybe your partner, like my husband, be like, oh, okay, well, you don't really need anybody because you're so self-sufficient and independent on your own. What do you need me for? So we create this environment of it all being on us and no one else is here to help me and it's just me, it's me. But is it really? Or do we create this thing?
I was gonna ask you, it sounds like we creating the chaos.
Creating the chaos.
Ah.
And we're so used to it, right? And you know, it gets passed down to us by the images that we see. Culture has an impact on it. Media has an impact on it. Our upbringing has an impact on it. Our conversations. We just normalize this. We normalize being stressed and tired and, you know, overworked. And, you know, some of us working multiple jobs. And it's like, yeah, I'm just, at what point do we get off the rat race? At what time do we get off of that mice wheel? You know, until we die? Well, I'm sorry. That's not how I want to live my life. That's not how I want to lead this world. Burnt out, stressed. No.
So how do some of these pressures discourage us from seeking help or just being able just to express ourselves and be vulnerable just naturally?
I think we have to first recognize that wanting support does not mean a weakness. I think there's a stigma around mental health. I know growing up, it was a big stigma where if you said mental health, it meant that you had some type of disorder, like something was seriously wrong with you. And you envisioned someone being kind of like wrapped up, being in kind of like a psych ward. You know, it was that It was that extreme. We weren't thinking, okay, you know what? I'm having a difficult time with a life transition right now. I could talk to someone that could give me some perspective and kind of give me some strategies and some tools to help me navigate it. No, we were thinking, you're saying I'm sick. And so even when it would have helped to share that load and get some tools and strategies, we avoided it like plague. No, secrecy, keep it to yourself. Everything if you're going through something, you only deal with it within the family. Don't be sharing this about anybody. And even more so in places of worship, it's like, what? Therapy?
Girl.
Mental health? What do you mean? Even worse. We've evolved a lot because now people are saying Jesus in therapy. And I'm saying, thank God, because yes, Jesus is enough, but he uses people that are skilled to be able to help us navigate through some difficult, complex things that we walk through in life just by being human.
Absolutely. Anyone listening to my voice, please know that two things can coexist at the same time. Jesus and therapy can coexist.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just yesterday, this is so funny we're talking about this. So yesterday I was talking to this woman and it was something about mental health, right? And I was just listening, being a listening ear. And she said, clearly what she was telling me, I felt she would definitely benefit from the gift of therapy.
Okay.
Because it was kind of traumatic what she was telling me. She's like, I'm just going to pray about it. I've been praying about it for the past 60 years. Like, sis. And that's all she said. She didn't want anything else. She's like, I'm just going to pray about it. But I think sometimes that could be, I'm going off the path. Anyways. Two things can coexist at the same time.
At the same time.
Yeah.
At the same time.
I know I was about to hit a hornet's nest right there. So.
Girl, what we do, there is a disservice. If after 60 years and you still dealing with the same thing with no change, I believe that God is enough, but he graces us with people who are gifted and skilled that he can use to help us as well.
Absolutely.
And it's about shifting our perspective, recognizing that God can use anything to help us through difficult situations.
Absolutely. Let me read a few more of the comments. Latasha said, come on, that's right. No more Build-A-Bay projects. Y'all are speaking so much truth. The effort we put into some of the toxic relationships, we could put that effort into rebranding ourselves.
Come on. Yes. Okay? 100%. Work on you.
It's okay. And sometimes that Build-A-Bay, sometimes they don't even want to be rebuilt. I mean, it's like sometimes like we impose it on someone else, but really we could put that in, put it within. Hey, Gigi. She said, Gigi's been a guest on this show as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. She said, when trauma is not dealt with, it tends to come out in many other ways that affect your life so dramatically.
So true.
And you just said it. There was one more. Oh, Gems. Hey, Joan. When you've been let down, then you feel like you're the only one that can make it happen for you.
Oh, you are talking about something right there.
Talk to me. What's going on in your brain with that?
Because I've lived this. This is why I talk so passionately about this, because I lived this. And you get to a point where you stop reaching out, you stop expecting, and then you just start to think, that like we just said not too long ago, I can just do it by myself. I can't really trust anyone. I can't rely on anyone. And that's a deception. That's the lie. And I had to be able to go through my own journey with that, because that was a lie. It's like, yeah, that was one person that let you down. But if I enter every relationship with the expectation that everyone's going to disappoint me, everyone's going to be a letdown, then I'll always feel that burden and pressure to have to do everything by myself, because I'm carrying that narrative. And then when you carry that, you tend to attract those type of people who would do that type of thing to you. But to work
Ooh.
on our emotional health
Ooh, no, you
to
didn't.
control,
Go there.
girl, we start to attract different women, different types of people that are also emotionally healthy that will have our back. But if we keep on carrying that weight of, I can't trust nobody, everyone is going to let me down, that's exactly who you're going to attract into your life.
Mm.
100%.
Wow, that's real talk right there. What's that black woman's mantra? I'll do it. Someone put I'll do it in the chat for me because I'm
Yeah, it's true.
not proud of it, but
But can I add to that? Sometimes we have to allow ourselves to become more flexible and adjustable. That if someone else does it, and it may not be exactly how you would do it, and it may be a little bit imperfect, to allow yourself to be able to just have that flexibility and be like, it's okay. To let go of that control, to release it, because in doing that, you release all of that angst and anxiety and stress that is caused because you're not controlling it all. You're not doing it all yourself. It's like, okay, let me let this person have, and it may not be perfect. Okay, be okay with that. I'm talking to you because I had to live that. I was like a control freak. I was like, I'm gonna make sure top, 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 top. But it's too much stress. It started breaking my body physically, emotionally, spiritually. I was depleted. It's not worth it, sis. It's not. Mm-mm.
it
It's
isn't.
not.
The Haven said, I had to learn how to say so what to a lot of things. So, Haven, you want to go explain a little more what you meant by that? But I love that. That's so what. Yeah.
That
Like,
releases you because then you're not walking around having to control all the things. It's like, okay, they didn't come. All right. How can I adjust my expectations then?
ooh,
Because if there's
ooh.
a pattern with the same person, it's like, okay, I see that you don't have the capacity to do this or to be who I need you to be in this season of my life. All right, that's cool. I'm going to adjust my expectation. I don't got to cut you off. I know we're good to cut off everybody. I can adjust my expectations. I won't go to you because you're not going to be the person that has the capacity to be there for me in a certain kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
I can fill my circle with different people who can meet a need that I have in a relationship. Adjust your expectations and be like, okay, girl, that freed me. So, I mean, I don't know if she has a different thought about that, but that's so what? That's okay. Keep it moving. I'm not going to let it roll off. I'm not going to take it on. I don't know what's going on in their life right now where they can't show up for me. I'm going to let it go. Because when we keep that stuff in, it gets stored in the body. Stress gets stored in the body and it manifests itself in different ways through that tension, muscle pressure and tension and tightness in our stomachs, tightness in our chest, all the physiological things that can happen because we're keeping that stuff in. Let it go.
Right.
Release it. Release it.
You know, I was gonna mention this a couple minutes ago, but Gems, she brought this up, and I agree. Some people become uncomfortable when you show vulnerability.
You're right. You're absolutely right. But that says more about the person than it does about you.
Yeah, I would agree with that because I believe that's when those intrusive thoughts take over and we create these stories. Yeah.
You know what? Go ahead.
I'm just thinking I've experienced that. Just
see,
yeah.
It's
Don't let them
true.
flinch a little bit. Like, okay, never mind. I'll do it. I got it.
Yeah.
No, I'm okay. I'm fine.
Because you're reading body language. Because I feel body language speaks louder than words. And so you're seeing how people, and what that tells you now, what that teaches you is, oh, I can't be vulnerable in front of you because then you start acting weird. And what does that say about the people? It says that they themselves are not comfortable with their own feelings and with vulnerability.
Yes.
And they too need to learn how to sit with themselves and sit with their feelings and be okay with that. We haven't been taught to do that well. We haven't been taught to do that at all. We've taught to be strong, wipe your tears, push forward, be strong, be powerful. Not wrong with being strong and powerful, but you're still human. It's okay to cry. It's okay to have weak, vulnerable moments. But most people aren't comfortable with vulnerability, particularly when it's in close proximity.
Mm-hmm. Girl, that's a lot. I love this. Jem said therapy saved me. Girl, me too.
Come on. Come
Girl.
on. Come on.
Oh, hey, Pam. So, okay, let me read one more and then we'll get back into some more talking points.
Okay.
Let's see. Latasha said, The Garden Within by Dr. Anita Phillips is a great book on how Jesus and therapy can exist. Let me take a screenshot of this so I won't forget.
She is amazing.
I never heard of her.
Oh my gosh, she's on Oprah. She confused together science along with biblical principles. She marries the two because she's a therapist, she's a preacher, loves Jesus, and does an incredible job of bringing science and biblical principles together. Just power. She's a powerhouse.
Really?
Yes. Her book is amazing. Yes.
I have to look that up.
Check her out.
So, what are some, we already touched on this. Let me go to something else. What about chronic stress and how the impact of physical? We talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the hypertension and heart disease.
Ooh, can we talk about this? Because sometimes how we cope, we become emotional eaters.
So emotional who?
Eaters.
Eaters, like eat?
Eaters eating food. So we use food to cope, to comfort. And so when we are stressed, when we are anxious, some people's vices may be pornography, some people's vices may be drugs and alcohol, others could be food. And so we are consuming excess food, the foods that are normally not good for us, because it brings us comfort. But in doing that, it can cause us harm over time when we start to do our blood work and realize we're not okay health-wise. Our numbers are off because it's become a pattern now that we go to food to soothe us when we are stressed and when we're not doing okay.
Let me tell you, I had a guest on. She changed her brand. She's an emotional eating coach. And I did a show with her. Petra, let me tell you, that sister had the chat lit up. Okay? I was so triggered. I probably was more triggered well, there's been several shows, but that was one of the top shows that I was so triggered because she was hitting on all the emotional pain points of overeating and how it's linked to stress and even a drama triangle. It was a lot going on. So I agree with you. It's temporary. It does work. It's a Band-Aid, but you're right. Long term, when you get those the lab works back and you're like, wait a minute, what?
That's growing in my body. What? And it comes back to your gut health, right? And no one's having these conversations with us as young women for us to realize that over time, as we age, our choices, it will catch up with us later on in life. And that we have to deal with those repercussions of those choices. We start having hormonal issues and things like cysts and things growing in our bodies as a result of the fact that, you know what, our gut health has been jacked up for a while because we have not been doing well in the area of our food. Right. Because we've been responding to, let it comfort me. Oh, I deserve eating this cake. I'm going to have all of this pizza. I deserve it because I had a stressful day.
Stay out my business, Petra. Girl, stay out my business.
That's my street too. I've been there. I lived it. Okay. I trust me. Trust me. I get it, sisters. I
feel seen.
But it hurts us. It hurts us. It does. It does.
Oh my God. Okay. Gigi said, if you're dealing with something for more than a year, you definitely should get some form of counseling, therapy, coaching, some form of help life. wait, some form of help. Life is too short to be struggling and suffering.
So true. So true.
And I know this sister, she actually lives what she's saying.
Mm-hmm. Good.
So yeah, and there's one thing just talking it, but talking it and being about it,
Be about it.
that's what this is right here.
So good. So good.
Oh my God. Okay, so let's talk. We already talked a little bit about the stigma. Do you want to go a little deeper about how the stigma is attached, especially within our Black community surrounding mental health? Um, just this conversation, I just know at least 15, 20 years ago, this would have never taken place. Or someone in the chat saying therapy saved their life. And, well, what's wrong with you?
That would never have happened. It would have never been embraced. It would never. It would have been like, what's wrong with you? What do you mean? You can't just take care of yourself. What do you go tell people your business? I don't want to talk to no strangers. Man, what? No, 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 no. It would not have been, no. And particularly the older generation, they would never.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Keep it in the family and keep it in the house. But meanwhile, well, where's the help though in that? There's silence, there's shame, and there's secrecy.
Yeah, someone put shame. Look right here.
Mm-hmm.
Shame.
Yeah.
I believe all of that, with that stigma attached and what goes on in the house stays in this house. You know, I don't want anyone knowing my business. All of that. I believe those stories protect abusers.
Oh gosh, yes.
I just do.
Absolutely.
And you know, what were you about to say?
I was just remembering a client years ago in a shelter system, and from a church, and that this is not heard of. You be in the church and have your partner be a minister, and you have to leave your home with your children to come into a shelter where you can't share the congregation or go to family, because it's more so, even if you share something's going on, they're like, well, so stay there, endure that. This is your husband. And so it was like she battled with the disgrace and shame of one, leaving the husband with the kids and being in the shelter, because you don't do that. You stick by your husband, even though he's mistreating you.
Wow.
There was no safe space for you to be able to be heard and seen and get actual support. It was more so endure it and bear it, because that's your husband. And that's toxic, right? Because that's not God, that's not love. And the Lord does not lay out for us to endure abuse and be in toxic situations. That is not the love of Christ. It's not. But we would allow people to be in abusive situations in places of worship historically. I hope that's changed, but I've seen it.
And the kids see that too.
The kids see that. And so when we think about even the kids, and we talk about strong Black women and stressed women, what are we marrying? What are we modeling to the young women coming after us?
Absolutely.
We got to really be careful that we are not painting a picture to them that they have to be all things, that they have to wear this cape, be superwoman, do all the things, have their back and everyone else's, give, team no sleep. That's a lie. First of all, you need sleep. I don't care what people say. You need sleep.
Yeah.
This hustle culture, this grind culture of, no, I'm just going to build to the top. No, until you drop, because you may drop before you make it to the top. You need sleep. And all these things that we ignore, you crash and burn after a while, because you're only human.
The crash and burn is real. And sometimes I think we just go so hard, we don't even attribute it to these other factors that have been piling on.
Yeah.
And then we wonder why we crash and burn.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So let's talk about the mistrust in healthcare. With us being strong in stress. Do you think sometimes that affects us from wanting to seek help?
I think, mm, I feel like the medical industry is a letdown,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe it's they're overworked, and they're just working these long hours. I don't know, but I feel anytime I've gone to a physician, I haven't felt heard or seen. It's been rushed. And I feel like you have to advocate for yourself. And maybe if you're being diagnosed with something, get second or third opinions, because people are not really taking the time to hear or listen. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a shame. It really is a shame, to hear how some Black women have had experiences when they're giving birth to a baby, and some deaths that have happened that shouldn't have happened. It's sad, and it's scary that this is what we're dealing with. And it's like, well, what are you supposed to do? Particularly if financially you can't afford any private type of health care, or functional health practitioners who could do more of the examinations and do the extra work that would really give you a thorough assessment on your health. What do you do when you don't have it? You
Mm.
settle for the public service and the public systems, which are bare minimum, to say the least. They're not looking for extra. They're
Right.
asking more questions. And then it's like a couple of years later, it's like, what you mean I got cancer?
Right.
Didn't I come see you? Like, that stuff is scary. That's what we got to take ownership for our own health, and really do what we need to do in terms of our part with our own emotional and physical well-being. But I feel that, financial is a barrier for a lot, and it's a barrier even for those who want to even seek therapy. Because what happens when you don't have benefits and you don't have insurance? Who helps you?
Exactly. And it's so needed. What country is it that has free health care?
Well, we do. Canada.
You all do.
We do. We do. But free doesn't mean better. Free does
Okay.
not mean better.
Mm. I was actually, I didn't know that about, actually, I did. Let me back up. I did.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a country over in Europe.
I wonder if it's Australia. I don't know if it's Australia, but I'm sure there's another country that has that
There
as well.
is. Oh, a patient.
Universal health care.
Right. I'm gonna have to look that up. Definitely. So, I would like to go back to talking about our networks,
Okay.
because I believe it's about finding your people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And sometimes your people are right around you, but because we're not um, vulnerable enough to open up, you would be very surprised that some people were probably going through the same things and you just never know. So it's about finding your people. Yes.
Yes, so true. So
Yeah.
true. So true. And here's the truth. It is a risk. It is a risk to be vulnerable, to let your guard down, to share. But it's a risk worth taking when you are in the company of people who are emotionally healthy and well, and that can hold space for you and be a support to you, and not make it about themselves, but to see you, to hear you, to acknowledge what you're going through, and to share in that experience with you. But it's a risk because that person could reject you. That person could criticize you. That person could be indifferent towards you. It is a risk. It is a risk.
And I was going to ask, but you answered it kind of. I was going to ask you, well, what if someone wants to start? What could they look for in a person to know, like, you know what? How can I tell if someone is emotionally healthy?
Well, you know what? I always feel that there's clues when you see people's life and their character, and you see how they manage stress and life challenges. And I tend to start with, people who have shared interests, shared values. and I look at how people treat others, right? How do you treat your
Mm.
family? How are you behind closed doors, right? Let me see your fruit, because the fruit don't lie. You're either producing good fruit or you're producing rotten fruit. You're either short
Mm.
tempered, angry, spiteful, or behind closed doors. I see you show grace. I see you show compassion. I was like, okay, this is someone that I would want to get to know better. This seems like
Mm.
a safe person. But that takes time, right? You,
Right.
you got you got to test that stuff out. Like, we're not just going to pour our hearts out to everybody, because everyone's not good intentioned. Allow
Mm.
time for the fruit to be seen.
I like that because we're in such a microwave society.
Hmm.
We just every instant friendship, instant connection. But you're right, it does take time
It does.
and cultivate it. Um,
Yes.
let's see. Gigi said, I had to learn how to detach from people, places, and things in order to keep my peace.
Yes,
Sounds,
child. That's
sounds
me, girl. I love it. Yes. All day, every day. Yes.
sounds like boundaries to me.
Hello. Hello. No is a complete sentence, boo. I'm telling you that. It's a no.
Ah.
It's a no, you're not coming to my house. It's a no, I'm not coming over to yours. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-mm. And you got to
So,
be honest about that, though, because sometimes we people pleasers, and we don't allow ourselves to say no and to create those boundaries because we don't want to offend, we don't want to hurt people's feelings. So again, we're always thinking about the other person, and you got to also thinking about you. If that's not a healthy situation for you, if when you in that company or in that space and it triggers you, you have to know and recognize that for yourself and take the responsibility to draw that line. A
mm,
boundary is for yourself. For yourself.
absolutely.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone who is the archetype of being that strong and stressed woman, but they tend to rely on their family and the family is toxic AF? Not all of them, but some
Right.
of them. But they feel, no, I'm good. I have family to rely on. And think that
Hmm.
that should be their circle, their unit
Right.
of
And
support.
I ask, how's that working out for you? I mean, really, how is that working out for you? Because if you leave family who's supposed to be your ride or die, and you come out there feeling worse than you went in, how's it really working out for you? Love
Mhm.
your family, absolutely. But they may not be the ones that's going to help you develop new habits that are healthier, create stronger boundaries, to really have the tools and strategies to release some of that anxiety and stress in your life.
Mhm.
It may be time to think about getting some professional help or cultivating relationships with others who have some of the values and the qualities that you would want in terms of relationship and a friendship.
Mm.
Because I'm telling you, it leaves clues. You'll see people and be like, that's the kind of person I would want to be in a relationship with. I like how she moves. I like how she deals with people. I like how she's graceful. And when she speaks, there's wisdom. When I leave her presence, I feel my cup is full. I
Mm.
feel better when I leave their presence. Pay attention to that stuff.
I love that. And how people react towards them as well. Some people, I truly believe this, they walk into a room and they are a light.
Yes.
They naturally just attract people to them, the men,
Hmm.
the women. And I'm not talking about in a sexual way. They just
Right.
have that something in them
Yeah.
just radiates. That I think that that's a very good clue.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You go around some people and they're on edge, like their body language communicates so much. There's like angst and just tension. And then when you speak and they speak, it's like negativity, it's complaining, it's talking about people. It's like, honey, that's
Mhm.
a red flag for me right there. If you are spending time talking about people and complaining and being overly critical, you are not
Mhm.
my people. I'm sorry. Protect your peace at all costs. At
Say it.
all costs.
Say it.
Man.
few more comments. And
Mhm.
thank you all so much for your input. I see you all as the
Yes.
third guest in
I
this.
love it. Yes. I love the
Gigi,
engagement.
I know. Gigi said, my trauma created lower back pain that has never left my body, and I'm almost 50.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
And Haven said, I learned how to check in with myself.
Mhm.
Pies, Pies, physically, intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually.
I
I
love that.
like that.
I love it. That's what we need to have in practice.
I like that a lot.
How are you doing today? How are you doing this week? Like you check in with yourself. Because
Mm,
then you can do an self-assessment and a self-evaluation, be like, oh, okay, I'm not doing okay emotionally this week. A lot of things came on and tested me. I wasn't eating too well. Check in with yourself. I love this. This is a
it's-
practice we all need to have.
let me take a picture of that so I can
Girl,
remember.
thank you, Haven.
Pies.
I love it. That's so good.
That way,
That's
if
so
it's in
good.
my phone, I will not forget it. I love that.
Mhm.
So, Haven, I know you're still on. Uh, what made you? What was your good trigger into want to cultivate your pies?
Mm.
I want to know that because that may help other people as well. Because that's a
Yeah.
good segue into what we're going to talk about next on practical tips.
Hmm.
Um, Especially cultivating that self-care. But
Yeah.
any practical tips if someone is a newbie? No, wait, if someone is a lifelong member of being that strong and stressed and wearing it like a badge,
Yeah.
but they want to learn like how I want to live that soft life, Petra. How do I start?
Hmm. I think it really starts with that awareness of I have been doing this and it has gotten me through, but I haven't been living well. So we could continue to make milestones and accomplish things, but we're not living well. We're
Mm,
stressed, we're anxious, it's cost us. And so the self awareness is huge. And then the willingness to do something about it. It's like how I've been doing things has not been working for me.
may I interject?
Go ahead.
What about the individual who is so committed?
Mm,
If this has been working for me all along, I haven't died yet. I mean,
right,
I'm fine.
right.
I'm 70. I'm
Mm-hmm.
30.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still, life is still lifing, but I'm still getting through. But
Mm-hmm.
some people can be so committed to
Right,
staying stagnant.
right. And so for me, it would be really to explore for them that you're making it through. But what if you had the choice and option to do more than just make it through? What if
Mm,
there was the option to not always having to just barely survive? That
mm,
I'm just surviving, you know? What if you could make a different choice and that it was actually a choice that you can make? And for
mm,
me, it would be more like exposing them to a different perspective and really helping them to discover and explore and get curious about there's a possibility to experience my life differently. It doesn't
mhm.
have to be this hard all the time.
Yeah, yeah, I
And
like that.
what could that look like? Let's start to imagine if I didn't have some of the current pressures, and even if these current pressures didn't go, because the reality is we can't control things that happen outside of us.
Mhm,
Start to imagine what could that life look like? What
mhm,
does the life look like to you? What does being able to have trusting and loving relationships look like to you? What does it feel like? What would it feel like to be in a life where you're excited to face each day? There's excitement, there's joy, you're doing things that fulfill
yeah,
you and excite you. What would that feel like to you? What would it mean to you? And start to really get them connected to a vision that they could
mhm.
have for their lives. And be like, I never even allowed myself to imagine the possibility, but what if it's possible? Because it is. So I would start to really help them to explore that and get curious about what could be.
I like that. And that goes back to that checking in.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So Haven said for me, she answered, hers started, for me, it was suffering from anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I attended therapy and learned that technique. That's the pies technique. Okay.
Wonderful.
Got
Love
it. And especially going through the change, it's not this girl, it's not discussed. That's another time. Oh, let me get my phone to take a picture. She said it's not discussed.
It's not
enough. And we do not know what is happening to us in this transition. You know what? That's
the Haven. I mean, the Haven. You are dropping some gems because someone needed to warn me about what it meant to turn 40. Okay, someone needed to tell me all the things that my body would start doing, and I needed to learn these things back when I was an adolescent, so I could adapt to different habits from my body and my overall health before I got to my 40s. We needed to have these conversations before we even reach being 20, 30, and 40. But no one was talking about these things, about life transitions and how our choices and things that we do can affect our body, how the lack of sleep, our diet, our gut health, and all these things could play a role in us having issues later on in life. No, we needed to have these conversations. And so how can we help the young girls behind us to have these conversations and hold these spaces?
Instead of that saying, oh, you'll figure it out.
Exactly. That is not helpful. I'm sorry. That is not helpful.
I got through it. You'll get through it too. Figure it out.
No. I needed to know. I am so shocked. I'm just like, wait, that's what's going on in my body.
Like, what is this?
Oh my God.
And when that first hot flash came over me,
it's like, what is going on?
I did not know that a human body can combust in heat. Like instant.
God, sister, let me tell you, when I start getting some night flashes, I mean, when I say night sweats, I mean, when I say drenched in sweat, where I can wring my top, I mean, wring it out. I'm like, what in the world? I just turned 40. What's going on? No, I needed this conversation back when I was 18. I'm sorry. Like, look, fly right, eat whole foods, do what you need to do, because later on in life, it's going to be rough.
Look, when I used to work in this office building, this lady, she had a real cute little afro.
Yeah.
It was probably about 5 inches high. It was real cute.
Yeah.
And she's worn it like that for the past couple of years when I worked in this building. And so over the weekend, she came back, all her hair was shaved off. She said she could not take the heat anymore.
Oh my goodness.
She said the fan wasn't doing it, the AC. And she said, I just got up in the middle of the night and just and shaved all her hair off.
Oh
and
my gosh.
Like, she said she felt so much better. I said, well.
Wow. Do what you got to do, sis.
Do what you got to do. Will be me, but I will carry. Look, I have a fan. I'm looking at it right now. As a matter of fact, it's charging. I'm on the train. Going to work. I'll keep that fan right here in front of my face.
I need to invest in one of those. Seriously.
Wait. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, see, in the chat is now lighting up. She's like, girl, the hot flash is no joke.
It's not. It's
I bet
crazy.
nobody's strong, but they're stressed when it comes to that. The Haven said, why am I crying at commercials?
Oh my gosh. I cry at everything now. Puppies, cats, horses.
I did. Wait. I was on TikTok and I watched this little it's some new challenge when the pet owners put their hands on each other and then the dog puts their paw. And I was like, oh my God. And I didn't cry, but I was so overwhelmed with emotions. And then I started crying after that because I started thinking of something that's been going on in the
Yeah,
background.
right.
I'm like, oh man. So the Haven said, why do I want to suffocate my man for snoring? Why am I screaming at my minor child? Why am I gaining weight while exercising? The list goes
The
on.
list goes on. We,
Yeah.
we needed a warning about this, man.
hmm And Gigi said Americans are the most hypomaniac people on earth.
Mm.
Wow. So let's talk about what you do. Any things you have going on with your coaching, or what you got going on? Or let me put your IG in the chat.
Sure. So right now, I offer one-to-one coaching for those that are navigating grief, loss, and life transitions. So whether you are experienced a death-related loss, a death of a spouse, a child, a sibling, then I'm able to support, as well as if you're navigating life transition in a career, transition in moving to a different state or different country, relationships. If you had a loss of a relationship, loss of friendship, like there's so many different losses. It's not just death, but it's non-death related as well. And so right now I have open spots for one-to-one coaching for those that are wanting some support with that.
Hmm Love it. I want to encourage everyone after you listen to us to go and click on the link in the description box with Petra and I's. Our last couple conversations were so good. It was dealing with what she just talked about now. I learned so much. I didn't realize that, to keep it real, that I was triggering people, more than likely, probably triggering people going through transitions, and it wasn't with any malintent, but
Mhm.
if you don't know, you don't know. So that's
Correct.
why it's good to have a coach to uncover some of those blind spots that you may
Mhm.
not know. 'Cause I
Right.
know I did, and I learned a lot. My eyes were open significantly.
That's so good.
Oh, okay. Costa Rica. And someone said Finland about the healthcare.
Okay. Okay. Nice.
I was thinking Finland.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So, um, let's wrap this up in a pretty bow. This was very powerful tonight. I hope you all learned something. If it was just one thing,
Mhm.
um, I think you did, because this was really good, real good. Any parting words?
I think for me, it's really for us as Black women to extend more grace to ourselves, more self compassion, to be
Mm,
able to hold space and be in spaces that will allow us to have all the sides to us. We can be strong and we can still be vulnerable. It's not a
mm,
weakness. We don't have to always wear all the hats and carry all the weight. It's okay to allow people to come in and help us to carry that weight. It's
mm-hmm,
not a weakness, it's actually a strength.
mm-hmm. I love that. I'd like to piggyback on that vulnerability part, to practice it. It is
Yeah,
uncomfortable
it
at
is.
first.
Hmm.
It's yeah, but practice makes practice.
I like that. I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
Yep. Practice makes practice.
Yes.
And how we talk to ourselves, that can be a great start. I'm gonna give a quick
Mhm.
example. So I started playing pickleball, right? But I noticed this habit. It did not click until 3 days ago. I've
Okay.
been playing racket sports for over 20 years, right? Whether
Hmm.
if it's racquetball, tennis, pickleball. And when I miss a shot, I will scream like, damn, Ursula, Ursula. But then if my partner misses, like, that's okay. And I really mean, like, that's okay. We got it. I'm hyping her up.
Right.
I'm like, girl, it's okay. We still in the game. And I'm up here yelling at myself. And I'm extremely vocal. They hear me across the court. And I really don't care who. That's just how I play. I'm very loud. And I have to have fun with
it's
it.
all good.
But while I was playing, it clicked in my head. Like, you don't even talk to yourself nice. Can you give somebody else,
Ursula,
more compassion and grace than you give to yourself?
That you're saying a whole lot right there, sis. You're saying a whole lot right there.
So last night I played, or not last night, Tuesday I played.
Mm-hmm.
And Wednesday, I played, and I didn't even think about it, and it just popped in my head again. I said, start talking nice to yourself. So that's what I meant, like the practice makes practice, because I was still yelling my name, but I was becoming a lot more conscious of it. So
that's powerful.
Yeah.
You see, when you said practice makes practice, I thought you were not trying to say practice makes perfect, because we're not trying to be perfect, because that's where we get trapped. But I love that. I love that. That is something that people don't really pay attention to.
Which part?
How would you treat your friend when they're going through a difficult time? Would you say, you loser? Or would you be cold to them? No, you'd be like, oh my gosh, and show grace. And it's like, when it comes to us, why are you so weak? Toughen up. What? It's like, show yourself the same grace you would show to your best friend. The same grace, the same compassion that you would show to your child, your adolescent, your mother. Show it to yourself. Mm-hmm. That part is so powerful. Oh my gosh. We miss that part often.
We do. And I would think back while I'm playing. This is a lot going on in my brain, and we're missing shots, and I'm big up in her, like, we're tapping each other's paddles. We got this. We got this. And then here I am, when I miss it, I hit my thigh. Like, come on, Urs. So I was like, no, okay, we're gonna start reframing.
I love that for you. I love that for all of us. That right there is gonna help a lot of us. Because now we can self-check and self-correct and be like, wait a minute. Is that being kind to you?
Yeah.
Raise that awareness, because we're not even aware how harsh we are with ourselves. Because it's become normal practice. We just do it. We just normally do it, accept it as norm. But when we start to become more aware, just by you lifting this up today, my hope is that every woman will hear it and start to, wait a minute, let me self-correct, give myself grace. It's okay. Encourage yourself. We got to do that more often. I love that. That's so good.
Yeah. And then to take it another layer deeper, those voices sound very reminiscent of childhood.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was like, oh man, not me having a self-therapy session while I'm playing pickleball.
Hey girl, I be self-coaching myself all the time. We're like, okay, Petra, what's going on? What's happening for you? What's triggering you? What, you got to. You have to, if you want to live well. We're not just trying to be out here surviving, just barely getting by. We want to live well. And that requires work. It requires intention. It requires a level of self-awareness in doing that tough emotional work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel and we touched on it a little earlier, the more we start uncovering those blind spots or becoming a lot more vulnerable, we will again track those people. Because my circle is, and I know you can attest to this too, is very enriched.
Yeah, that's a blessing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just some of the people I'm thinking about now. Some are in the chat. It's like just have I always respected them, but just that level of respect just increased so much, and I don't feel strong when well, actually, it's a different kind of strength. Let me back that up. It's a different kind of strength. And I look at them as very strong individuals as well. I mean, because we all go through things, but it's just a blessing. It is a blessing to know you as well.
I
I
feel the
consider
same.
you, yeah, consider you
Feel
one
the
of those
same.
people. And it's the tribe, the movement is getting bigger for
It, girl,
everyone.
it is. It is. It is. Man, we should. I tell you, you know how there's podcasts that have like tours and different events. Girl, you should one day have a live event. We all come and just gather. It would be awesome.
Yes. We are rebranding over here. When we go offline, I'll give you some more details. But
Okay.
yeah, the movement is getting bigger.
I love
So
it.
you all listening, real quick before we get off, if you enjoyed this conversation, can you drop a heart? Drop a heart in no, I can't see that. Put a one in the chat or put I love it. And if you would love to see Petra come back, just put a one in the chat. So do you all celebrate? Oh, you're already getting some ones. Okay. That's awesome. Thank you, sisters, for this master class.
Oh, thank you, Amy. But girl, you dropped some gems today that I gotta go and chew on some more too. So thank you for your
Yeah.
contribution. So appreciative.
Oh, Pam, my sweet Pam. Love me so. Pam is in that circle too, I consider.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
So do you all have a Memorial Day or equivalent to a Memorial Day?
We did on Monday. It was
Oh.
Monday for us. Yeah, it's a different day for us.
What is it called?
Victoria Day.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, look, that made my heart smile. Love you, Ursula.
Oh.
See what I'm saying? Petra, guess what?
What, girl?
You are a Black girl that's getting her shift together.
Come on.
This for the queens, sisters manifesting their dreams. Get your cream by any means and beam with self-esteem. Beauty supreme and Buddha walk so mean. The way you fit in them jeans, you eat your cornbread and greens. Dance or a doctor, red wine or vodka. Redesign your spot and redefine your mantra. Retwist your locks and realign your chakras. Doing your squats and getting closer to God, huh? Brunching with your squad or taking a girl's trip. Adjust your crown, you God's gift to the world, sis. Celestial body, drink your water. Meditate, sun-kissed goddess, heavenly order. Levitate, tribe of Ashanti. Black girl magic, melanin popping. Whether you ratchet or lavish, whether you bougie or savage, you a gift and a treasure. You got to love a black girl getting a shift together. Black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, man. These black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, dog.
Hey, y'all. One more thing I forgot to say. Petra, we're still live. Tune in next week. No, tune in Tuesday. Tune in Tuesday. I have a diagnosed narcissist that is coming on, and we're going to dissect the Diddy apology. I know it's been out a lot, but listening from someone who is a diagnosed narcissist, and he's been a guest on my show before. He's going to just unravel some things that he sees that we may not have seen, because some things he's experienced as well. So I want you all to make sure, if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell so you know when I drop the episode. It will be live, and we're going to go earlier. We're going to go earlier in the afternoon, so it won't be the normal evening. But I want you to definitely click the subscribe button, because we may not date people to the level of what we've witnessed, but there sometimes can be slight nuances that that could be a toxic relationship, may not be the healthiest, I should say. So tune in, and I expect to see you all there. Okay, anything for real at the end you want to say? Or we done, Petra?
We done. I think we said a lot, and it's been an amazing time. Amazing time.
I would agree as well. We are okay. Someone already has their bell on. I love it. You may recognize my former channel. Drina's Haven. No, I haven't, but I'm going to look it up and I'm going to subscribe. Okay, we're done for real, you all. Y'all have a great evening. Talk to you later. Oh, and someone connected with you on Instagram already, Petra. Did you see that?
Oh, fantastic. I love the connection. I love it.
It's the movement.
Hey, it's the tribe, sister. It's the tribe.
It's the tribe.